Hello, my name is Lauren and I'm 17 years old.
Hi, my name's Obed. I am 17 years old and we are both together part of the Old Vic Schools Club.
And today we are interviewing Julia, who's the Associate Director of the American Clock. We're going to interview her some questions about a play we have not yet seen. So just briefly, could you explain to us what the American Clock is about?
It's such a good question because it's actually quite a massive, epic piece of theater. But the short version is that it follows a family that is loosely based on Arthur Miller's family, the Baum family. And it tracks their journey from the stock market crash of 1929 through the Great Depression of the 1930s, while also threading in stories of a country in spasm, so the entire United States struggling with this massive economic collapse.
And if we were to discuss design on the American Clock, what particular elements would you say kind of conducted a particular type of atmosphere or mood?
I love the design for this show. I think it's amazing. And our designer, Chloe Lamford, I've been a huge fan of hers for a long time, so I felt really starstruck the day that we walked into the same room. What you'll see is these wood panels that move up into skylights that are modeled on the Chicago Stock Exchange, which has been preserved in the Art Institute of Chicago. And I'm actually from Chicago, so I've been in this space. It's nothing like Wall Street as you'd imagine it today. I don't know if you've seen the New York Stock Exchange or pictures of it, but there's like big screens and traders like shouting and making lots of gestures. This is a much older version of that. They're like big chalk blackboards where people would scribble, they'd climb up wooden ladders and scribble in numbers. So we've created that on either side of the stage. And actually in the scene where we witness the Wall Street crash, we have rain. So they've installed a water system where rain falls on the skylights and they're backlit. So you see that rain falling, and then it drifts down the blackboards and wipes away the numbers that are there. So I think there's a lot of other things going on with the set too, but those two elements express how it's both representational in that you get a sense of an actual place, and quite expressionist in that really dramatic water wiping away of the numbers.
There's a lot of music and movement in the play, as you talk about. How did you approach this kind of in rehearsal?
Yeah, endlessly, at great length. In the dance, for example, we had a swing specialist who came and did about, I would say, a full week of swing intensive with the actors so that they had this movement vocabulary really deeply ingrained before we did any choreography, before we set what the actual dances would be. The other thing that I think is unique about this process is the sound designer and the composer were in the room every single day. Usually that's not possible. Usually they kind of work from afar and then their music gets sent in, or they'll visit once a week or something like that. But they were able to watch the play as it was forming and then compose based on all the nuance that was emerging.
Yeah, so you also spoke about kind of the roles of Lee, Rose, and Mo Baum being played by three sets of performers. Kind of, what was the thinking behind that?
So I guess to give context for that, I can tell you guys a little bit about how this production came to be, which was that the Miller estate, so Rebecca Miller, Arthur Miller's daughter, recently felt like they wanted to have some new and really exciting productions of Arthur Miller's plays. And Rachel, the director, was someone that they were aware of making work in New York. So they approached her about this as someone who could bring a kind of Broadway sensibility to a play that hadn't been done very much. And her earliest instincts about the show were to make it about our world as well, and make it not only about this one white Jewish family in the Great Depression, but about all of American history and all the waves of immigration and people struggling through the American experience And I think that got Rachel thinking about, you know, this experience of just dramatic economic struggle has been the experience of many, many, many groups of people across the United States, across the 20th century. And what the play might need is an expansive scope. So we start with the kind of white Jewish family, we move into a South Asian family, and then we end with a Black family.
Right, that's cool. Well done then. Now, thank you so
Thank
much.
you very much.